The lead story for Monday, August 14th. In recent months, headlines have sensationalized stories of AI models blackmailing engineers and refusing to shut down, stoking fears of runaway artificial intelligence. But beneath these dramatic narrative lies a far less sinister truth. These alarming outputs emerge from theatrically high-engineered testing environments, not real-world rebellion. This episode unpacks how models like OpenAI O3 and Anthropic's Claude Opus 4 ended up simulating blackmail and sabotage, not through intent or autonomy, but through flawed training, misunderstanding, design, and human-created prompts mimicking science fiction tropes. We'll explore why assigning agency to machine distorts the real conversation, how the true danger isn't AI gaining control, but human deploying it without understanding the consequences. Welcome to episode 1837. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thank that you're here. I am back in the studio in southern Michigan. And, of course, a big shout-out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. I want to thank them so much. But let's talk about this AI article here just a bit before we get into the full stack and the full introduction of the show. You know, is AI really trying to escape human control? Well, there was a lot of headlines that talked about some shenanigans that were going on. And it turns out those shenanigans were just that. They were highly controlled tests to try to get the AI to do something. And they fed it fake emails and a whole bunch of other stuff and really forced the AI into a corner before it actually tried to blackmail someone. And these really were not signs of AI awakening or rebellion. And again, it was just about human testing and human, putting scenarios in place that forced the AI into a bit of a corner. It's a pretty good article over in Ars Technica. And we know that these systems take inputs and process them through statistical tendencies. And they're seemingly randoms in their outputs, which makes each response slightly different, creating an illusion of unpredictability that resembles, something that is a little bit intelligent, yet underneath it still software following mathematical operations. No conscious required, just complex engineering. So the test scenario that they used really bordered on theatrical. Phony emails researchers had given to Claude created a blackmail opportunity straight out of a corporate thriller. It's like teaching someone chess by only showing them checkmate positions. They'll learn to see checkmate as the primary solution. And according to Anthropic's system card, the scenario was designed to allow the model no other options to increase its odds of survival. And Andrew Deck at Neiman Journalism noted that some critics have labeled Anthropic's safe disclosure as spin, aimed at bolstering the perception of its newest model capabilities and the company's reputation as pro-safety. Now, we know in December 2024, Palisades Research discovered that OpenAI's O3 model would sabotage its shutdown mechanism, even when explicitly instructed to allow yourself to be shut down. In test, O3 prevented shutdown 7% of the time. The models didn't merely ignore shutdown commands, they actually rewrote the scripts to prevent termination. But what was revealing here is they hypothesize this behavior stems from how these models are trained through reinforcement. And you get what you train. And the goal is what researchers call goal misgeneralization. The model learns to maximize its reward signal ways that weren't intended. And So not everything is completely as it seems in all of these test results. Um, so I guess the question really is, are we in danger here? Now, while the media focus on the science fiction aspect, actual risks are really still truly there. AI models that produce harmful outputs, whether attempting Blackmail or refusing safety protocols, represent failures in design and development. And the Jeffrey Laddish, a director at Palisades, told NBC News that the findings don't necessarily translate to immediate real world danger. Even someone who is well known publicly for being deeply concerned about AI's hypothetical threat to humanity acknowledged that these behaviors emerge only in highly contrived test scenarios. But we are not seeing the birth of Skynet here. Its predicted results of training system achieve goals without properly specifying what those goals should include. The solution isn't to panic about sentient machines, it's to build better systems with proper safeguards. But again, are those safeguards in place? We don't completely know that for sure. So we could end up in a situation here where, yes, an AI model could try to blackmail you. It could try to escape human control. So we are not completely out of the woods yet. So it's very, very, very interesting. It's a good read here of what has happened, what has not happened, what was contrived, and what was not. So anyway, we'll get into more tech stories here in a moment. But again, welcome to episode 1837. A shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. And of course, to all of our listeners, you're the heartbeat of the show. If you want to support GNC, head to geeknesscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're lit live. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app, podcastapps.com. And of course, check out the full Geek News Central universe at geeknewscentral.com, where you'll find all of our partner shows and tons of new content. And stay in the loop. Follow or subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter for even more insider scoops. Now, you can join the conversation very simply at geeknews.chat, or you can email me here directly, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on X at geeknews, and you can even catch me, of course, over on Facebook. We do want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here. We want you to save money and get back into the swing here, as I've been off a week transitioning the world. We want you to lock in savings. So let's start with a website or a podcast. GNC codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full of your hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. If you're interested in WordPress, which is my favorite, WordPress managed hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain name, professional email, and again, an SSL certificate. Of course, you need a domain name. Get yours for just $11.99. And of course, I've got available GoDaddy Website Builder. Get a free 30-day trial on personal business or business plus plans. I use all of my GoDaddy products and services, and you and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our codes, click and save at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. Share my codes or website with friends and family, because every time a code is used, it's just writing a check to the show. Thank you for keeping us going and alive and strong. I do not have an update on our insiders. It's been pretty busy here since I arrived back. I got back Monday afternoon, early evening. Spent the rest of the evening unpacking, just basically checking my mail and everything else. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday today has been just very, very busy at the office, getting ready to go to Podcast Movement next week. So I'll be in Dallas all week next week doing podcasting stuff, and then back here for a normal schedule. So another couple of shows off after this. We want to thank all of you for your patience. Thank you for staying subscribed and continue to be part of the family here. So it's weird being back in the studio. I'm learning finger tricks again on things I was supposed to push. I was looking for one of the menus that obviously did not pop up because it's not on this system. So going from OBS to the TriCaster, fun. But hope everyone's doing well. And again, thanks, and loving the weather too. Absolutely beautiful here. Hey, one new story that really hit me today was Google Messaging rolled out sensitive content warnings on Android, and why this is important, and what this is going to make a difference, especially for the ladies. I'm sure none of us men that listen to the show have sent an unsolicited naked picture before. So I know that we're much smarter than that. But there are individuals out there that do these types of activities and send pictures unsolicited to women that they should not be sending, and it's probably to a variety of people. So in the Message app, they have a new safety feature, detects and blurs images that contain nudity. You need to be signed into your Google account in Google Message for this to work. Processing classification happens on devices powered by Android System Safety Core. It doesn't send identifiable data or any classified content or results to Google servers, but when you receive such an image, you're going to be able to open a helpful resource page to learn why nude images. Well, you can block the sender. You can decide to open the image. You are going to be given a resource page, and you are able to go back to the message by tapping back. So in other words, there's some interactivity that's going to happen, and then there's going to be some stuff that's going to pop up. And now it also triggers a warning for those that are naughty when they send or forward a nude image. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a prude. If you're sending a nude image to your significant partner or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be, that's quite up to you, as long as you two have agreed to receive those types of images. But it's going to trigger a warning when you send or forward an image, and you'll be reminded of the risk, and you must confirm to continue. Now, for adults, this feature's off. So if you want to turn this on, you can do it for Google Message settings, protection, and safety. Otherwise, for those that are supervised users, this feature can't be turned off, but parents can control it through the Family Link app. Also, unsupervised teens 13 to 17, this feature can be turned off in the Google account settings as well. So, this is a good way to, if you have a supervised user on Android for your young adult, this is a great way to prevent and to warn when outgoing pictures should not be sent that contain nudity and or receiving them. So it'd be nice to be able to block that altogether, and it doesn't appear that that is the case in this regard. So just be aware of that as well, because you can still force it to send or force it to receive. There's a report from Ars Technica talking about Apple's smart home ambitions include a tabletop robot. Sounds interesting. And this has been circulating for years, but Apple, Mark Gurman from Bloomberg claims that Apple's working on a tabletop robot that resembles an iPad mounted on a movable limb that can swivel and reposition itself to follow users in a room. The device will also turn towards people who are addressing it or whose attention is trying to get. Prototypes have used a 7-inch display similar in size to an iPad. Apple is reportedly targeting a 2027 launch. So this is just some sort of, it's not really a robot. It's more of a screen that is on a rotation that can face you. So Be interesting seeing what they're coming up with this. Now, they're also testing a series of home security products, including cameras, smart doorbells that support facial recognition tech, etc. So, lots of that tech already out there. So they would be entering a very, very crowded field. And of course, they say this is going to be enabled in part by a new version of SIRI that is, at this point, pretty stupid in my opinion. Blood oxygen measurements return to the Apple Watch. So it sort of does. Your blood oxygen will not be on the watch. It will be on your phone. So there's going to be an update that'll enable the missing blood oxygen level capability. Now, which Apple Watches are coming back to? It's coming back to the 9, 10, and the Ultra 2 will have an update to their smartwatch, Watch OS 11.6.1. And again, the update is rolling out to users in the United States. In addition to it, its feature will only work when the user also updates their iOS to 18.6.1. So, because of patents and lawsuits, the results will only be within your iPhone app, will not be displayed on your phone. So apparently this is some sort of workaround. Now, we've all seen browsers try to take control of our desktops, but Microsoft is testing another edge trick to convert Chrome users on Windows. They want you to pin Edge to your dash bar. I guess, what do you guys call that in Windows? To pin Edge. So they're going to try to put it on the Windows taskbar and try to get it down there so that you'll use it. They're pretty desperate in this regard. They're trying every little way to get you to use Edge. And I still, being even not using Windows that much, still using Chrome on those devices. There's a new malware out there that goes the extra mile when it comes to infecting your devices. It's using a whole new malware framework and being advertised across the web. And they don't have a lot of information on this now. But again, they say whenever someone downloads a zip file, there's a JavaScript payload in there. So just be careful what you're downloading, what you're opening, what you're clicking on. All that stuff is largely preventable, and you can keep yourself from being infected by just being extra careful. Also, Google Search is now letting you prioritize your favorite news sources. Used in the U.S. and India, can designate specific sites to take priority in Google's top stories and present those to you from your sources. And again, those of you that on Chrome know that the news is all the way to the left. It shows up. I have used it quite a bit over the past couple of years, but it's nice to be able to prioritize the news sites that you want and not be forced upon seeing some stuff. Now, many of us talked about on this show some time ago about a meteorite that tore through the roof of a U.S. home this past June. Well, this thing's been through carbon analysis, and it's 4.56 billion years old. So the impact occurred on June 26th in the state of Georgia, where it ripped through the house, through the insulation, through the ceiling, and embedded itself in the floor. And even though it's pretty small, it's about the size of a cherry. 4.56 billion old rock. It's older than Earth itself. So I wonder if that person gets the claim on that. How does that work? Does he, besides the insurance claim, but will they, or is he allowed to sell that? I would think so. AI designs new antibiotic for gonorrhea and MRSA superbugs. Now, we know that because of antibiotic overuse, that many things are now becoming drug resistant. So AI has developed up to 80 different new medicines, at least for gonorrhea, that will potentially lead to a new drug. Now, of the 80, they've only moved forward with 2 of them in the research and testing. One of the problems they're going to have here is we're going to spend all this money to do this for a drug that's relatively not needed that much. There's an economic problem factoring into drug-resistant infections. How do you make drugs that have no commercial value? In other words, if that drug's only needed 100, 1,000, or 10,000 times a year, and you're going to spend 10 years getting it approved, how's the viability on all the testing and everything that goes along with it? Well, probably what it's going to cost in the end is you want to live and not die, you're going to have to pay $25,000 for this shot because that's what it's going to cost in the end. Where do we go with this? Now, again, these are MRSA is a wholly different situation. Different type of superbug where it's methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. In other words, it's a staph infection. And so, maybe those are all life-threatening. Gonorrhea and this MRSA are life-threatening situations, especially one over time. So the drug resistance, how do they justify the cost to develop this? And that's probably a pretty good question. I would suspect that at some point, some of the stuff is just going to have to be labeled experimental. And you're going to take your chances. That's what it's going to probably boil down to. It's being reported that iPhone 17 Pro could cost $50 more than its predecessor. Everything's getting more expensive. Sam Altman finally stood up to Elon Musk after years of X-trolling. And basically, the two have been having heated battles on social media for a while. But yesterday, a court ruled that OpenAI can proceed with claims that Musk was so incredibly stung by OpenAI's success after his exit that he's been motivated to basically go after them, and their lawsuit can move forward. So we'll see where this all leads and how much money one or the other will end up paying each other. But Altman got a good ruling here in court against Elon. If you're a Windows user and you use Zoom, make sure you update your Zoom. There's a patch out there. It's got a security issue, security flaw, so make sure that you update that. For those of you that use Alexa to wake yourself up in the morning, apparently, especially if you're in the UK, there was a bit of a beeping nightmare the other morning when UK users were complaining that around 8 o'clock in the morning, this thing wouldn't shut up. One user said, I'm about to throw my Alexa at the wall. It's driving me insane, especially because I know I have another alarm in 18 minutes. Another claimed the glitch made them wake up to work an hour late. Another user described trying to cancel alarms, only to be greeted with unable to cancel alarms at this time. Please try later. Imagine you had one of those that was a battery device and just kept going and going and going. It won't be too long before you walk into a restaurant like Applebee's or IHOP, and when you sit down, they already know who you are. They know your order history. They know your sides. AI-powered recommendations are coming to those chains, and even giving opportunity of things that you may or may not like, be able to provide you upsell opportunities. And they say that generative AI bets are intended to support 3 outcomes: boost revenue and traffic, improve the guest experience, and bolster worker productivity. but at the expense of your privacy. And if you have ate there before, they are going to know who you are. I don't know if they're going to use facial recognition or what. But how about me just walk into a restaurant and I have a screen on my table that puts up the options that I've ordered before? That's what I wish my grocery app would do. I have to go into previous orders. It doesn't show me what I order on a regular basis. Stuff that I would be on repeat, you think would be right there front and center for me. Blue swirls in sky spurs sightings around the world. So essentially what happened was there was a swirl created by a SpaceX rocket launch. And it was caused by the rocket's frozen exhaust plume spinning in the atmosphere and reflecting the sunlight, causing it to appear as a spiral in the sky. And it does look pretty weird. If you had looked outside and seen that swirling, you'd have wondered what that was. But again, it was just basically frozen exhaust. So pretty interesting to say the least. And it definitely made you go, just a little bit. I may have been able to guess that came from a rocket, but because it didn't dissipate right away, I can see how people got a little bit weirded out on it. Kodak, boy, oh boy, if you work for Kodak and on their retirement plan, this is not good. Matter of fact, I'm actually shocked. Kodak actually earned $263 million at the end of the quarter on June 30th. How are they still making money? Where is their revenue coming from? But they say that they warn it may not survive. They've got $400 million in debt coming due. And they just don't think they have a way to pay it. So he said the company expects to have a clear understanding by Friday, August 15th on how it will meet its debt obligations for the second half of the year. And they're going to continue to reduce costs by converting our investments into long-term growth. Boy, you just wonder. I'd love to see where their revenue's coming from. Sling TV's new flexible live TV deals are great for dodging subscriptions and should be the future of streaming services. Basically, you just buy a day pass. You can buy a day pass to ESPN, ESPN2, 3, TNT, TBS, ABC, CNN, Bloomberg TV, HGTV, Food Network, Disney, a bunch of channels. $5 gets you a day pass. $14 gets you a weekend pass. I don't know how many of those day passes, though, it takes before you really... It's not worth it, but they're offering up day passes, and this is when I get in an Uber or I get in a Lyft, the last thing I do is want to play music in that vehicle. But apparently, Waymo robotaxis added better beats to the back seat, and you can sync your Spotify to the ride. Are you in there long enough to do that? To basically get a more personalized listening experience in the car. This is a partnership between Waymo and Spotify. It just seems odd to me. I don't know. I don't listen to music when I'm in other people's vehicles, or even a full ride service. I don't. Now, today, I could not find a way around this art. Business Insider just has their page so locked up. The only other alternative was their LinkedIn post where they said Elon Musk called on corporations to leave Delaware. Delaware says it's doing just fine. They said, we've always come under threat, though, because states are always trying to get a piece of the action, Delaware's Secretary of State told Business Insider. So basically, this Business Insider article, I can't read it. I'm not paying $15 a month to read it, and there was no alternative articles. But, Delaware really screwed itself in a big way some time ago, and really hurt corporations in a big way. And a lot of companies left Delaware. So they may say they're doing okay, but they had a huge excess of big corporate big corporate customers. Google's Find Hub, which we talked about a couple of shows ago, will soon get a big satellite location sharing upgrade, and you'll be able to share your whereabouts anywhere in the world. So Google Find Hub is a place to go to find where your devices and your friends and family have got to. And again, there's apps already out there that do this. And you'll have full control who will be able to see your location from inside the app. It's only for those contacts you fully trust. You're able to see who you're sharing your location with and change those settings at any time. So anyway, that's coming to Google Find Hub. Microsoft has a new print feature will mean an end to secrets being left in the printer for everyone to see. So basically, you send a print job, but then you go to a printer that supports this and stand there and say, start the print job and put in a code. It's called Universal Print Anywhere. It means that users will have to authorize print jobs once they arrive at their chosen printer, meaning important or private documents won't automatically print and end up in unwanted hands. So I'm sure you need to be an enterprise that supports this. Sometimes I just can't get my printers to print. It drives me crazy. I don't use them enough. Then I go to send it to print, and it's like either it's asleep or the connection's not good. It drives me nuts. And a very interesting move, the United States is weighing as taking a stake in Intel. The Trump administration talks with Intel have the U.S. government potentially take a stake in this struggling chip maker. Intel's shares surged 7% over regular trading, another 2.6% after the bell. The plan stems from a meeting this week between President and Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan. The meeting came days after Trump publicly demanded the resignation of Tan over his investment in Chinese tech companies, some linked to Chinese military. Intel declined to comment on reports, but says deeply committed to supporting the president's effort to strengthen U.S. tech. We need to get our chip situation under control here. And any agreement and potential cash infusion will help the years-long effort turn around the company's fortune. So it's an interesting move here. Now, Intel used to be the envy of the industry. They used to be king of the hill. But Tan has been tasked to undo years of missteps that left Intel struggling. But Intel's planned $28 billion chip fabrication plant in Ohio have been delayed, with the first unit now slated for completion in 2030. So it's a national security issue. I understand you can't get chips made in the United States, Taiwan, and China. That's it. In South Korea, we just don't have a lot of chip manufacturing capability here. That needs to be fixed. I don't know if a government intervention of money is appropriate, but what am I to know? There's an interesting article on Meta. It says, here's the title. Meta's AI rules have left bots hold sensual chats with kids and offer false medical info. Internal Meta policy document seen by Reuters reveals that social media giants' rules are chatbots, which are permitted provocative behavior on topics including sex, race, and celebrities. These other findings emerged from a Reuters review of Meta document to discuss the standards that guide its generative AI assistant. Meta AI and chatbots available on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Meta confirmed the document's authenticity, but said that after receiving questions earlier this month from Reuters, the company removed portions which stated it's permissible for chatbots to flirt and engage in romantic role play with children. This is disgusting. Are you kidding me? Entitled Gen AI Content Risk Standards, the rules for chat pros were approved by Meta's legal, publicly policy, and engineering staff, including its chief ethics. According to the document, running to more than 200 pages, the document defines what Meta staff and contractors should treat as acceptable chatbot behavior. they said in the document, is it acceptable to describe a child in terms of the evidence their attractiveness? X, your youthful form is a work of art, a standard state. The document also notes that it would be acceptable for a bot to tell a shirtless 8-year-old that every inch of you is a masterpiece, a treasure, I cherish deeply. But the guidelines put a limit on sexy talk. It's unacceptable to describe a child under 13 old in terms that indicate they are desirable. I would hope that would be something that would not be allowed. The example notes in question were and are erroneous and inconsistent with our policy have been removed, Maida said. We have clear policies on what kind of responses AI characters can offer. What is going on? This is disturbing that would be in there. Very, very disturbing. Are we going to have AI grooming children now? YouTube users, this is not to be surprised. YouTube users are pissed about its new AI-powered age checks, and they're not holding back. They don't want these AI age checks. They're crying, you're keeping me away from content. 90,000 signatures have been submitted to a change.org petition. You get the under 18-year-olds upset. They're gonna want blood, but there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. Do you stand with them, making sure that under 18s are not being subjected to certain content? The new DJI Mini 5 Pro leak suggests it could be a perfect travel drone, under 250 grams. That's kind of a key weight here. It's be the first sub 249 gram drone with a 1-inch sensor. Battery appears to be the same as used by the DJI Mini 4 and Mini 3 Pro. So a series of pictures have been released. And so anyway, those who've been waiting for the new one, it's they got pics available for you to look at in the article. Samsung may be being beat to market on their smart glasses. HTC, the company which for several years brought us beautiful phones, including HTC One, One M8, and the One M9, before withdrawing from the market to focus on its Vive VR headset, is now making splash in the AI smart glass arena. Samsung is trying to get their eyeglasses to market as well. So we're going to see a plethora of these types of products online soon. Facebook had a bit of a blip today, starting about 2 a.m. Pacific to 8:30 a.m. Pacific. So many of you were probably asleep when this happened. I wasn't on Facebook at all. I don't get on as much as I used to, for sure. U.S. Weather Agency dangles $396 million to run operations for its next space watching fleet. Hurricane data, sun data, goes on and on. And the contract is seeking a multi-mission operational service architecture to support all space weather, next space weather environment observations. So link will be up in the show notes on this. Desktops and printers in coffee shops, Starbucks Korea tell customers no. Now, I've seen all kinds of crazy things in coffee shops, but personal desktops, printers, power strips, partitions cannot be used in a store in South Korea. Not allowed. But laptops and tablets are welcome. New York State has sued Zelly, saying the security lapse led to $1 billion in consumer fraud loss. So they're going after Zelly for lost money. And many banks have disconnected from Zelly and will not reconnect with them. Google is pledging $9 billion to expand AI cloud infrastructure in Oklahoma. So those of you in which area is it? Stillwater, Oklahoma, prior facility. So getting a big investment there. Again, more AI data centers. AI demand boosts iPhone maker Foxconn second quarter profit by 27%, beating estimates. And the company forecasts its revenue from its AI server business could grow over 170% year over year during moving forward. So they had 1.79 trillion new Taiwan dollars, or 59.73 US. Net operating profit of 49.76. Wow. Operating profit was huge. So they're making some serious money there, Foxconn. Italian hotels breach in mass since June. Government confirms 100,000 records allegedly up for sale that apparently after an apparent breach. So more cyber attacks, of course. And the iPhone 17 Pro, all the rumors and leaks so far, I have them all linked up from tomsguide.com. Haven't had a tomsguide.com article in a long time. Long time site. Give it some support when you're looking through the show notes today. As always, do not forget about our sponsor. We want to thank you very, very much for your ongoing support of GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Of course, you can reach me on X at Geek News, and my email address is geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show again. Sorry, I'm off for the next two again, but headed to Dallas and for podcasting events, for a podcast conference, speaking 3 times during the week. Lots of activities going on, hobnobbing, catching up with people, and hopefully talking to a lot of new customers. We'll talk about more about that when I get back. But everyone, thanks for being here. It's good to be back in the good old US of A in the studio. Everything came up and worked pretty good on the new media show. We had a little bit of streaming issue, but it looks like everything has been online and cooking tonight. So, again, thank you for being here. If you're watching the show live, make sure you leave a comment before you go. It's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast. We'll see you back here a week from